Right now on Hoosier News Source, the latest on a possible Russian missile strike that left 2 dead in Poland and what this means for international relations.
And another fraternity placed on cease and desist and how the IFC president is responding. From Bloomington, Indiana, you're watching Hoosier News Source.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier News Source. I'm Ella Rhoades.
And I'm Ashton Hackman.
A possible Russian missile barrage has left 2 Polish civilians dead after dealing with a strike to the Ukrainian power grid. The barrage also left much of Ukraine without power and was Russia's largest barrage yet, with 85 missiles being fired. This is the first time fire has come down on a NATO country as the result of the war. The Pentagon did not elaborate when asked whether or not this would trigger NATO's Article 5. Article 5 is NATO's defense clause, which says if any countries in NATO are attacked, the rest of the countries will come to its defense.
Theta Chi is now the second IU fraternity currently on cease and desist. On November 9th, IU placed Theta Chi on cease and desist for hazing. Greek organizations are placed on C&D when there is an immediate threat or ongoing investigation. The other fraternity on cease and desist is Sigma Alpha Mu. There are currently 10 Greek organizations on disciplinary status according to IU's list.
That the list is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it is the best choice for an organization in our community. And so just simply having a disciplinary status isn't necessarily a horrible thing. It could just be probation. And it's one of the tools that IFC and the Office of Student Conduct use together to kind of just bring people to the table to address whatever might be happening.
Goldie also said that most of the chapters that are on the disciplinary list come off of it quickly because they're able to create a plan to make changes and keep chapters and members accountable. Tragedy struck the University of Idaho campus on Sunday. The Moscow Police Department responded to a call on King Road about a half block away from campus where they found 4 University of Idaho students dead. MPD is investigating these students' deaths as homicides and identified the victims: Madison Mogan, Zana Cardinal, Ethan Chapman, and Kaylee Goncalves, all between 20 and 21 years old. The university canceled classes on Monday. On Tuesday, police said they believe an edged weapon was used in the attack. The suspect is still unknown. Our thoughts are with the Idaho University community during this difficult time.
In late Sunday evening, 3 University of Virginia football players were shot dead by a former teammate who's now in custody. The UVA Police Department arrested the suspect, Christopher Darnell Jones, around 11 a.m. Monday morning. Jones is a student at UVA, and according to the official Virginia Cavaliers website, he was a player on the 2018 football roster. The university placed the campus on a shelter-in-place order for more than 12 hours. A manhunt took place across campus until police took the suspect into custody. UVA President Jim Ryan identified the victims as Deshaun Perry, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Devin Chandler. 2 other victims remain in the hospital, one in good condition, the other in critical. The university canceled all classes on Monday. We here at IU are thinking of the UVA community during this tragic time.
We're more than a week removed from the midterm elections, and the control of Congress remains up in the air. Democrats will maintain control of the Senate after the Associated Press projected them to win both the Arizona and Nevada Senate races. Georgia voters are bracing for a heated Senate runoff election this December between incumbent Democrat Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker. Control of the House remains uncalled. However, Republicans are inching closer to a slim majority. Democrats also won several notable governorships, including Katie Hobbs in the state of Arizona. Republicans flipped the governor's seat in Nevada, where Republican Joe Lombardo defeated incumbent Democrat Steve Sisolak.
And speaking of the midterms, here at the IU Observatory on social media created a dashboard to help people decipher misleading information on elections. The data collected is from Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and they plan to add more platforms to their dashboard eventually. The dashboard filters keywords such as vote blue, vote red, and other similar tags from posts. It then determines the credibility of the posts based on information from NewsGuard. Visit our website, iustv.com, to see more on their dashboard. And it seems like here in Bloomington we are experiencing some fall, almost winter-like weather. Kayla Craig is now here to tell us what to expect. Kayla?
Thanks, Ella. Whether or not you're headed out of Bloomington for Thanksgiving break, you'll probably have a chilly week. Most of the country, especially the Northeast, is expected to have below average temperatures the week of Thanksgiving. So unless you're headed to the Pacific Northwest or Southern Florida, prepare for some chillier than normal weather. Let's see what to expect for today's weather. This afternoon, we've got a chance of some snow showers. Snow is possible from around 2 to 6 p.m., but if we get any, it'll likely be less than an inch. Let's have a look at the rest of the week. Temps are expected to drop as we head into this weekend, giving us a high below freezing for Friday. But it looks like temps will rise back up as we start next week. Stay safe and have a great week. Ella and Ashton, back to you.
Thanks, Kayla. Coming up on Hoosier News Source, how the Letty School is helping an Italian museum preserve history.
And Thanksgiving is just around the corner. We'll show you how food pantries are getting ready. You're watching Hoosier News Source.
Welcome back. Brookelyn Lambright joins us downstairs in Studio 7 with the latest on international news. Brooklyn?
Thanks, guys. After 8 months of Russian control, the Ukrainian city of Kherson is free. On Friday, Ukrainian forces pushed Russian troops east of the city. So far, residents have no water, power, or internet, but they are happy to be free of Russian control. Crowds filled Kherson's central square shouting, quote, "Glory to Ukraine," end quote, a common patriotic greeting among Ukrainians. Crowds are seen flying Ukrainian flags and congratulating Ukrainian soldiers, with some civilians receiving signed autographs from those who fought to regain the city. Local residents are describing the liberation of Kherson as the, quote, "best day," end quote. The Ukrainian occupation of Kherson is a major blow to Putin's war effort. After Russia's loss of Kherson, Putin no longer holds control of any Ukrainian capitals. On Sunday, almost 80 people were injured in an explosion in Istanbul, Turkey. The explosion damaged a tourist area in central Istanbul. The blast took place on one of the main streets of the city. This street is typically crowded with pedestrians and tourists. The street has now been closed off by emergency forces. The cause of the blast is unknown, but Turkish Vice President is declaring it a terrorist attack. Turkey's government has declared a temporary media ban on all reporting of the explosion, which means no videos or broadcasts of the blast or the aftermath are being shown. Officials have yet to charge anyone responsible for the attack. The Majestic Princess, a cruise liner, docked in Sydney, Australia this weekend with 800 passengers and crew aboard testing positive for COVID-19. Those testing positive for COVID are reported to have mild symptoms, and guests testing positive were quarantined in staterooms. Those positive for COVID-19 were escorted off the ship and advised to complete an additional 5-day quarantine at home. Those testing negative were allowed to leave the ship after completing a negative rapid antigen test. This is the third ship from the Princess fleet to experience COVID outbreaks. That's what's going on around the world. Ashton, back to you.
Thanks, Brooklyn. Back here in Bloomington, the Kinsey Institute at IU launched a new disability and sexual health initiative that focuses on populations with disabilities that are under-researched. The first study focuses on people with blindness or visual impairment and condom use issues. Jennifer Paya and William Yarbert co-founded the study, which is a partnership between the Kinsey Institute and the School of Public Health. The initial study will explore participants' beliefs about using condoms and the related challenges.
Because our goal is that our research will change practice and change lives so that people can have the resources out there and make the conversation.
Students, get this, you will also play an important role in the research. The study also plans to conduct additional condom use studies focusing on people with other disabilities.
Thanksgiving is just over a week away, and food pantries like Pantry 279 here in Bloomington are gearing up to hand out supplies to families in need. Their Thanksgiving box program provides families with food items they'll need to have at Thanksgiving dinner. They include everything from traditional ingredients like cranberry sauce and yams to overlooked items as simple as salt and pepper. They plan to hand out 2,200 boxes made for families big and small at the Monroe County Fairgrounds this weekend. But Director Cindy Chavez says they'll still take any donations, no matter how small.
A lot of people say, oh, all I've got is 2 cans of corn. That's 2 cans of corn we didn't have. In a box A, which is a small family, that's 2 boxes. That's 2 families right there. In a box B, that's 1 family. They get 2 corns. So that's another family that didn't have corn.
If you would like to donate food or money or volunteer your time, you can visit their website, pantry279.com, to sign up. Poets and Quans ranked the Kelly Direct Online MBA program #1 among 50 other schools. The Kelly program has ranked in the top 5 since Poets and Quans started their ranking 6 years ago. The program was ranked based on the quality of incoming students, an assessment of the MBA experience by graduates, and career outcomes of alumni. U.S. News and World Report and Princeton Review also ranked Kelly Direct the #1 program.
Well, while the football team might not be looking too great, IU basketball is doing pretty well. Hank Joseph is here to tell us the latest in IU athletics.
Thank you, Ashton. The Indiana men's soccer team ended Big Ten play with a runner-up finish in the Big Ten tournament. After defeating 1-seed Maryland in the semifinals, they fell to the 2-seeded Rutgers Scarlet Knights in the championship. The Hoosiers were able to hold off Maryland's comeback attempt last Wednesday after taking a 2-0 lead into halftime in College Park. But in Piscataway in the championship, after tying the game up 1-1 just before the half, Rutgers came out firing en route to a 3-1 victory to claim their first ever Big Ten championship in program history. Regardless, IU finds themselves in the NCAA tournament for the 9th straight time, more consecutive than any other college program, and will host a second-round matchup on Sunday at noon. Ashton, as you mentioned, the Indiana football team fell once again for their 7th straight loss on the road to Ohio State. This is now the Hoosiers' 28th straight loss to the Buckeyes. While it was tough, there was a bright spot in sophomore quarterback Dexter Williams II, who saw his first significant action of the season and threw for 2 touchdowns after starter Connor Bizelek was pulled. And with the cold weather moving in, basketball season is officially underway for the Hoosiers. The men's team started off right with 2 wins last week over Morehead State and Bethune-Cookman and moved up to number 12 in the national rankings. But their first true test comes this Friday when they travel to Cincinnati to take on Xavier in a high-profile matchup in the Gavitt Games. But it is the women's team, who has taken the spotlight with a huge win over 11th-ranked Tennessee 79-67. Indiana dominated this one from start to finish as senior Mackenzie Holmes picked up her first double-double of the season with 16 points and 10 boards. Fifth-year senior Grace Berger added 13 points and 10 rebounds along with it to carry the Hoosiers to victory as they climbed 3 spots and now sit at number 9 in the country. That's all for sports this week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Hake. I'm super excited for IU basketball, so we really appreciate you coming on in. And thank you guys for watching this week's episode of Hoosier News Source.
For more information on this week's stories, check out iustv.com.
And be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV News.
I'm Ashton Hackman.
And I'm Ella Rhoades from Bloomington, Indiana. We'll see you next time.